check this out. Would there be a problem in saying that we would like to see, if at all possible, more larger units? Not directing it, saying that we want the large units to attract more families or thus or that, but that we would like the mix of units to be different. Are we allowed to say that?
You do have authority over the occupancy space. And if that's what you're asking, the answer to that is yes. Subject to what Mr. Morrison, Director Morrison will say about the focus that is available for council in the municipal planning strategy.
Would you like to make a comment?
Well, I would. It's not directly related to that, but just something for council to consider. It may be unrealistic for us to expect that one development is going to meet the needs of all the different populations that we may have. And there are other developments that will be different than this one and will target different groups. And in fact, we have a proposal in now for 146 Gasparilla for 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, relatively modest, 600 to 800 square feet, which meets another type of unit that may attract people. So, something the council might consider. Is it reasonable to expect that one development is going to meet the needs of all?
Okay, thank you. Councilor Spartan?
In regards to the interior makeup and how, the units that are going to be inside, I was really hoping we had that pretty much nailed down. I was hoping, since the discussion has been centered around how it looks, I thought we were in agreement not only around this table, but with the staff and with the developer that, except for how it looks, we were happy with this. If that's not the case, then I would like to know. Because if we've got more issues than how it looks from the outside and whether or not it meets the architectural guidelines, then I need to know that so that we can move on from there.
Thank you, that's helpful. Comments with regards to that? Are there other outstanding things other than the facade? Councilor Donovan?
I think related to Councillor Sparkman's comment is still the issue of mass. We've had some emails that I can't comment on them because they seem to come from very viable sources. I'm not sure that the mass does in fact meet the guidelines, all of the policy statements of the NPS, and that's something that needs to be further looked at. If the mass is in fact bigger than it can be, then the number of units will have to be shrunk, and I would be happy to have more larger units so that we do, I fully respect the solicitor's comment, and I agree we can't do people planning, but I do think we are allowed to ensure that there's spaces for people with disabilities, and I think by the virtue of the people who would like a bigger space will probably be people, so inadvertently we will be able to do that people planning, but I think it's more about creating a smaller mass and a smaller number of units, and one way you do that without totally shrinking your mass is by doubling up on some of your units. So I would have expected to, rather than 66, to see this at least below 60.
In regards to the providing housing for longer term, more established people in the town, I see that this does answer that indirectly. I see that this provides an excellent place for temporary dwelling that will suck some of the temporary people that are living on Prospect Streets and streets like that, suck them out of there and enable those houses to go back to long-term, single-family houses. So while it doesn't answer that need directly, I see that it can speak to that by taking pressure off of Prospect Street and other streets like it, which are being rented out for short-term, 1 or 2 year type dwellings.
Officer Simpson?
Maybe I'm not understanding the mix of dwellings completely. It says a minimum of 13 with 1 or 2 separate bedrooms, at least 4 of these being 2-bedroom. And these units will be 20%, 60% larger. My question for Mr. Morrison is, what about the lofts? Where do they fit in with these 13? Is that including the other units? Or is there more than the 13? If there's more than 13, that makes it a little bit easier for me to
Well,
grasp.
they would be in excess of the 13, but at this point, they're not confirmed. So the developer would like to do that, but he's working on some issues with building code and access and stairs to those, which, you know, he may not be able to resolve until final design. So they're not a guarantee, but they're not part of the 13 now. You have a guarantee of 13 larger units.
Guarantee of 13 plus the possibility of a few more. What is the few? Just roughly. I just want to have some idea.
Approximately 5.
So 18, if it was, you know, I mean, theoretically, we've got 18, which sounds a lot better to me. I can say that, yeah, but having, it doesn't say that here, but if the lofts are included, then all of a sudden, and I don't want to people plan, Mr. You're right about that. But having 18 bigger units would be a kind of an asset.
And I'm not a mathematical whiz, but clearly it doesn't go from 66 to 71 when you add 18.
No.
Those should already be included in the 66.
They're in the 66, but what I'm saying, the bigger.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
know.
important point.
I know.